Okay, I think everybody can view my screen. If no, kindly let me know. Yeah, today we would be discussing about different layers of SAP CRM Web UI. As we seen yesterday, yes, the layers are presentation layer, business layer, and business engine. And we would be seeing what are all the benefits of having these many layers. Can anybody say why we need to have a business layer when we have a model in a presentation layer? Any inputs from your side? Since we have a model and uh, model is more about getting the business data, why we are having a separate business layer underneath the model like Boole and Genil? A generalized input you can provide to me.
Devendra, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can.
So is it because all the logic is the business logic is saved in the business layer, and that way when you access the model, you don't need to know what the relationships are and things like that.
Yes, we have a dedicated model for that. So in a presentation layer, we have model view controller. So model is dedicated to fetch the data. So model is already there to fetch the data, but we have additionally business layer here. Okay. As a CRM is having it's a SAP CRM, so mostly a big organization will be implementing this. So there is a huge data. That huge data should have a proper transaction management. So to maintain that transaction management, to make a better performance for the data, they have built a separate layer which is dedicated for the data performance and transaction management. So here we will see later, like model is just to request for data and get the data. The role of model has become it's simpler, and the business layer is more about the data transactions, data performance, data filterization, data synchronization. So now the business layer has taken a complete ownership about the data processing, and yeah, organization will be having huge data. So the complete business layer is dedicated for that, and now model has been become very simpler, and it's into the presentation layer. So the presentation layer can completely concentrate on a UI, how it has to expose the content that it got to the model. So to make this, one thing is simpler at the presentation layer and a dedicated layer for the data, because for every organization data is very important. If some wrong data has been displayed, uh, that may lead to some losses for an organization. Okay. I hope it's clear to you. If not, yes, we would be going one layer to another layer. We would be discussing. Then you would be knowing a bit deeper about uh, layers. Yeah, presentation layer, as we see and as we have already discussed. As we discussed, it follows MVC architecture, where request will be user request will be accepted by the controller initially, and then it processes based on the request. Like it instantiates the model, it instantiates the view, and it provides the reference of the model to the view. Already we have been discussed about that. So now the another layer, underneath layer is a business layer. The interaction of presentation layer to business layer was via model, because model has to fetch the business data, what we can call it as a business objects. So business object is nothing but the data which is used for a business. So that's nothing but the data is requested by the user. So now model will interact with the business layer. So now the presentation layer is more about the UI and the controller which try to set some data to the model, and model will request to the underneath business layers. Now we will see in a business layer there are two layers we have. One is whole, that is called as a business object layer, and generic interaction layer. Let me repeat it again. There are two layers in a business layer. One is business object layer, that is called as a whole, and another one is generic interaction layer, that is called as a genil in a short form. See, in a business layer as well, we have two different layers to process the data. First one is genil. We would be discussing about the genil. So sorry, it's a whole business object layer, the upper layer. So this whole will interact with the model to accept the request, what type of request it is. Generally, for every data, there would be 4 types of queries will be there, 4 types of request will be there. That is called as a CRUD: create, read, update, and delete. So from a model, the request will come to, for example, for creation, maybe creation of a sales order, creation of an account, creation of some customer, creation of service request. So that type of request is called create, or read, just to display the data. So I would like to just get the data based on the query I file. Update. So already existing data is there, we need to update it. The final one is delete. So whatever the data we would like to delete. So from a model, the request will be coming for CRUD data, means create, read, update, and delete. So now from a model, BOL will accept the data, the request data and the request, and it determines what type of request it is, whether it is a query service or entity. See, here on a BOL layer you can see query service and entity. Query service is nothing but when we search for some data, that is for a query service. And in WebUI, the query service are being divided into two query services. One is static service and another one is dynamic service. Static service is like, for example, if we are searching for a sales order or some account, the customer ID, we would like to search based on a customer ID. In a static search, we need to provide a complete customer ID. So just like 11608, so when you need to provide a complete transaction ID, then only you will be getting the query result. Whereas in a dynamic query, you can put like, yeah, contains 1 or it is less than or greater than, so you can have logical operators in a dynamic. So here BOL is having a service for search criteria as well, that is of a query services. In the future we would be coding for how to get the query how to accept and how to fire the query services to the underneath layer. So the BOL is more into the ABAP programming. The next one is entities. Entities are nothing but which contains the exact data. Here query service is responsible for querying the service. So whatever the query parameter is coming, yet it fires to the underneath layer. Whereas entity, yes, it gets the result, it stores the data, and to display or to modify everything, the data will be stored in entities. It's more like a storage content. The third one, that what we see is a core. This is a core object for business object layer. That means the core object is responsible to create all the services of business object layer. I'm repeating again. The core object of business object layer is responsible to create services of business object layer. So first, the model will directly interact with the core, and core is instantiated by the framework, API framework. 2 points. Core object is created by the WebUI framework, and model will directly interact with the core. Now core will provide the services like query services, entities. The another benefit that we get from the core is cache, so buffering. So for the best performance, to improve the performance, Bol is having cache, which is nothing but a buffer. So how buffer works? So for example, a user is trying to search for a customer ID 11608. So he got the data. Now how he will get the data from a model to Bol to Janil to underneath API to tables, from a tables to API to component, and the data is transferred to the core, and the storage data will be done at the entities, and the same replica will be stored at the cache. So as of now, take this as granted. Strictly speaking, there will be little bit variations when we go into the coding part and when we deeply discuss about the business object. So whenever the user hits for a data, initially yes, it will be fetched from the underneath APIs, but for the second hit, it will not go to the underneath layers. It will go to the core. Core checks whether yes, the user inputted data is already available in a cache or buffer. If yes, it gets the data from the cache and it replies back to the model. Is it okay? Hello?
Yes. Understood.
Yeah. Am I going a little bit faster, or whether these terms are okay for you? Yeah, Santoshi?
Yes, that's fine.
Yeah. Because anyhow, we would be going deeper in every element. From this session, I would like to know, I think maybe for you, all the terms are new to you. That's why just I would like to get a complete picture, like how the layers in depth and what are all the terms. At least entity is there is a query service, core, cache, different Janil components. So my expectation from you is get a complete overview, so that later when we start a programming, you would be you should know like where we are. Okay. Is the pace is okay for you? Okay. Now that is about the Bol. So the role of Bol here is to interact with the model and as well as to interact with the underneath business layer. One. Two, the another benefits that we get from a Bool is query services and entities. Queries is to get a query services like static services and dynamic. Dynamic will be having the different operators, whereas entities is to store the exact data. And it has another service that is a cache, which is a buffering. So whenever user tries to fetch the same data again in that session, so not like if he starts another browser and if he's trying, then that will become another session. So in that respective session, yeah, so the data will be stored in a cache. So for the second hit, he will get data from the cache rather than going to the underneath layers. And one more important thing about the Bool is the Bool is created at the runtime. Means whenever a request goes from a model for the first time, then WebUI framework will instantiate the business object layer. Is everybody is okay with the term instantiation? Let me know if I think you are you able to analyze what do I mean to say instantiation?
No, could you please explain?
Right. See, in an object-oriented programming, we will use mostly the term instantiation. Instantiation is nothing but at that request time, a memory will be created for that respective classes and programs. So if you are not requesting anything, yeah, that will be going to the garbages. See, for a presentation layer, yeah, we would be coding, we would be, we would be designing the layout. So that is called design time. So you would be determining a lot of stuffs, like these are all the attributes like sales order number, sales order, the customer name, customer first name, last name, everything you would be determining at a design level when you are designing, right? But for a Bool program, you will not be able to design anything. So you would be writing few codes where it will instantiate at a runtime. Means at runtime only the respective Bool object will be created. That is nothing but instantiation. That is nothing but a memory will be allocated to these respective program. So every program will be having a set of data or set of processes. So runtime means at that request, yes, that memory will be allocated. If there is no request, memory will not be allocated for that respective layers. So business object layer is a one where you will not be able to create like a in SCIT or WebDintro programs, you would be creating input fields, context, these many a lot of things at the runtime. At the design time. But for the Bool programming, you will not be able to create like that. Anyhow, if you are not understanding right now, no issues. When we discuss about the Bool layer, then we would be able to get what exactly do we mean by the runtime. And when we discuss about the above OOPS programming, yes, we need to get what do we mean by the instantiation, what do we mean by the design time, what do we mean by the runtime. Okay. For now, our purpose is get a more idea how the different layers looks like. Okay, so yeah, the point is Bool will be created at the runtime. Means core will be instantiated when a user requests, and it provides these services to us. Now, what Bool does? What what Genil does. Bol has query services, entities, core, and buffering facility. That's why SAP CRM has built up Bol layer for dedicating for these activities. Let us see. Let us see a bit deeper of business object layer. Bol serves as a uniform programming interface to access application business logic. Just have a look into this term. This speaks a lot. Business object layer serves as a uniform programming interface to access application business logic. Okay, where actually the application business logic resides? In the APIs. So, application programming interface, and it interacts with the tables. So the complete application dependent data and the logic mostly will be available at API levels. That's why here it has been mentioned CRM business logic. Business logic will be written here. And another term like uniform programming interfaces. Why it says uniform programming interfaces? Because if I am requesting for a sales order details, I would be accessing the same business object layer. If I am requesting for the business partner, I would be coming through the same business object layer. If let us see in our different components, this is the order component which is responsible to fetch the data of the order. But here, excuse me, but here, but here Bol is a uniform for the order, for the business partner, for the iBase, or for the one order framework. So whatever the request is there, the Bol will have the same entities, query services, core, and cache. That's all. It will not vary for the different requests. That's why he called it as a uniform programming interface. So when we go through the programming, then exactly we would be knowing the flavor of uniform programming interface. It's beautifully framed by the SAP CRM guys. But when we go a little bit deeper, then we would be knowing like what uniform programming interface is. Okay, next one. Only one instance of Bol core class exists per session. That means for a user, if whatever the request he makes, there would be only one instance of Bol. Okay. Then core class is responsible to provide services. We have seen the different services that core will provide. Bol provides services as query and entities that we have seen, we have discussed. And Bol provides buffer mechanism, that we have already discussed. So the main advantage of Bol is the services like query and entities and buffer mechanism. So as of now, you can just have a brief note like, there is a Bol layer which is a uniform layer irrespective of request. There is a uniform Bol layer is there. It is irrespective of the request that will be processed, and it provides services like query, entity, and buffer mechanism. Now we will see the underneath layer, like Genil layer. So mostly technical people says the most difficult part of SAP CRM Web UI is Genil programming, because from an ABAP perspective, yeah, they might not have seen the frameworks like which is having different layers in their career or in their, I mean, as per their studies. From a person who is from a OOPS oriented background, yeah, they would be accustomed to these different layers. But anyhow, yeah, we would be dealing and we would be discussing and we would be getting the complete content of SAP CRM Web UI in depth. So now see the journey. It is first and the foremost one is it is getting a request from a bowl, maybe for the services or like dynamic services or static services or to fetch the data. Same again, CRUD application. It will request for, see, for searching a data, for modifying the data, for saving the data, and for creating the data. We will leave this topic as of now. When we come to the, at programming part, yeah, we would be discussing about the model, what it is. But as of now, yes, bowl will be requesting to search the data, to modify the data, to save the data, or to create the data and to delete the data. So what type of process should go, that will be intimated by the bowl layer. You have to search for so and so order. You have to modify so and so order, or you have to save so and so order. You have to create so and so. Now bowl will interact with Genil interfaces. In a Genil layer, we have interfaces and components. Now Genil will interact with the bowl through the interfaces. So in an object-oriented programming, always a interface will act as a communicator. Now GoToMeeting is a communicator between you and me. Now the interface is GoToMeeting. In the same way, that's why object-oriented is having a lot of flavor, just because you can relate it with the real time. So the purpose of an interface is to communicate. What it is doing here, bowl layer sends a request for some data modification or some data search or saving or creating. It is accepted by the interface. Now these interfaces are interacting with the Genil components. These interfaces are interacting with the Genil components, and those components, just like a order, BP, IPACE, BP header, BP, one order framework, ACC for account. So there are a lot of Genil standard components have been provided. Those components will interact with the APIs. Means maybe BAPIs, maybe RFC, or maybe a general class which is trying to fetch the data from the tables. See how flow goes. Bowl is interacting with the Genil interfaces. Now interfaces will be intimating to the component that, yeah, I would like to go for a search, I would like to go for a modify, I would like to go for, I'm requesting for a modification, and I am requesting for a save, and I am requesting for a create to a Genil components. And in that Genil components, we would be writing a code to call an API, call the respective API. Create an order, yes, for creating an order, there will be a dedicated API, maybe provided by the SAP. If not, yeah, as a developer, we need to create an API. So that respective component will be calling the respective APIs. In that API, yeah, we would be writing the code, or we would be writing some calling for the web services, or it may call another function module, or it directly can interact with the database tables. So that's how the data flow goes. Now we will see a bit into the Genil. What Genil has? Genil has set of interfaces and lot of components. And again, what services the Genil components provides? Yeah, searching for the data, modification of the data, save and create. See here we are discussing more about the data because it's a business layer and it is dedicated for the businesses. And one more thing that this figure doesn't contain is a buffering program. Genil is also having its own buffer for the performances. Again, from the the similar like a bool, if the same request is requested by the bool to the Genil, yeah, it checks in the buffer whether the respective data is available. If yes, yeah, that will be sent back to the bool. But it depends on how a programmer or a technical developer creates a component. So based on the component coding, yeah, you may have a buffer or not. So we will leave about a topic object model as of now. So when we try to create a Genil component, then we would be discussing about the object model. So this is having a flavor like how the data processes from one layer to the another layer. Yeah, what a Genil layer is. Genil layer contains set of interfaces, and a Genil layer contains set of interfaces, Genil component set, and Genil component. As of now, we have seen components. A group of component will be set in a component set. The purpose behind that is, so whenever the request comes from the bool, they don't want to load all the components that is resided in a Genil component layer, the Genil layer. So it will be loading a respective component set. In that set, we would be having a group of components which are responsible to provide the required business data to the upper layer. So Genil layer contains set of interfaces. Yes, we would be dealing about what are all the interfaces that Genil layer has, important interfaces, and what the role it plays, and how to create a component set, and how to create a component, what are all the mandatory things to create a component. If we go a little bit deeper technically, Genil component is represented by a dedicated class. There is a ABAP class which is dedicated for a component, and that implements set of interfaces. See, the term here is represented by a dedicated class, fine, that implements set of interfaces. What set of interfaces? Just we will see the diagram. So here there are set of interfaces which are having search, modify, save, create as their methods. So the component here will implement set of interfaces so that the bool will be able to interact with the interfaces, and interfaces already implemented by the component. So the bool can communicate through the interfaces with the component. As I told you, interface is for the communicator. It doesn't have, it's a void one. So it doesn't have anything in it. So see, is GoToMeeting is a communicator which is wide, and I am implementing with my voice. So there should be some object which should be implemented. So as we discussed again, it is represented by a dedicated class. There is a dedicated class. Let us take order here, which implements set of interfaces. Why? To communicate with the board. The next point is Genil component comprises set of Genil objects and their relationship called Genil object model. Yeah, here the flavor comes of a Genil framework that SAP CRM has provided. Just I will go through the statement again. Genil component comprises set of Genil objects and their relationship called Genil object. Now we will see this is a object model. With respect to the Genil, that will become a Genil object model. Why we need to have a Genil object model? Just because we are fetching data from the APIs. That's fine. We are fetching the data, but the data should be processed. Our data should be stored somewhere. So to store that temporary data, we would be using Genil objects. So I'm coming again, like why we need a Genil object model. Genil is interacting with the APIs to fetch the data. And now Genil component has interacted with the APIs, got the data. That data should be processed or should be stored temporarily somewhere. For that, Genil components will be using object models. That is Genil objects. I think everybody is clear with that statement, or you want me to repeat it? Because see, every term is important here, and the next session are always related with this. Anyhow, we would be going bit deeper every time, bit more detailed every time we go through the programming. But if you get a complete overview about this, yes, you would be able to enjoy while coding. Otherwise, it would be like you need to just practicing and practicing, and it will take time you to understand the concept. Kindly let me know if you want me to repeat it, or if you want me to emphasize on a particular statement. Kindly let me know. Yeah. So here the object model is to store the data, and Genil component dedicated class that we have discussed will process the data. So the dedicated class will process the data, means it goes goes underneath to the APIs, fetch the data, and it throws the data into the object model. Now fine. So we know the responsibility of Genil objects, just to have a temporary data that it processed from our APIs, and the role of a dedicated class to interact with the APIs, get the data, throw in a object model, and intimate it to the upper layer interfaces, so that whole gets communication about that. So how the object model is defined? Just have built these screens to have a little bit idea like what a Genil object model Genuine object model contains group of objects. There are a lot of objects where object contains just, for example, let's take a work area where or a structure which contains a set of attributes in it, different data types in it, set of data types. Genuine object model contains a group of objects and with relationship. There will be a relationship between the objects. So genuine object model defines a group of objects and modeling means there will be a relationship between the data, the objects. And again, what object model genuine object model defines? Genuine object model defines hierarchy of objects. We refer these objects as business objects. As I told you earlier, business object contains the data of business. Just we will see here. So these objects should contain a data. So who is throwing the data? The dedicated component class will throw the data to the object. So this is the dedicated class, and this dedicated class is interacting with the object model. And this dedicated class is interacting with the API, fetch the data and store it temporarily on the different object levels. Because temporarily we are storing the data, but that since SAP CRM is having a huge data, it should be formatted. You got the data and throw it somewhere, yeah, that will not work. That should be formatted. Like, for example, now I need data of a customer. Customer data means first name, last name, telephone number, his country. Now the next one, I need his address details. Then specifically we are going, okay, the address details of whom? That respective customer. So we are getting a deeper into that. For example, this data contains customer name, customer number, customer ID. But for further, there may be a requirement of getting the details of addresses, customer addresses. Then we would be embedding the addresses in a different object, so that when a request is coming for the address, then only we will try to display that one. Otherwise, we will not be able to display that addresses. Here there is a benefit. There will not be problem of data redundancy. Whenever the requested data is requested, then only we are passing the data. Otherwise, yeah, we are not processing the data. That's why there are different objects which contains the data and has a relationship. Here it contains the main data, but it has a dependent data, like for that respective customer address, for that respective customer fax number. Yeah, we can take the other example like this. For that respective address, what's the fax number? Initially we are requesting for the customer detail, then went for the address. For that respective address, what is the phone number and what is the fax number? When that type of request is sent by the user, then only we will be processing the data. Otherwise, we will not be processing the data. For that, we have this genuine object model and the hierarchy. Now, just we are going little bit deeper into the general object types. There are different object types. We have general objects, but yeah, since it's a huge framework and organization, there are set of rules that has been defined to the objects, and with the names. General object types are root objects, access object, dependent object, search object, dynamic search object, search result object. By the name, root means it's an entry point for fetching the data. See, as I told you, the dedicated class will fetch the data from the API and will throw it to the general object. General object model is having the data. So there should be entry point for fetching the data. The entry point is a root object here. This is access object, a similar kind to the root object, but there is a restriction. Dependent object, as we discussed just before, yeah, customer details, then I need an address. Then we cannot give the address directly, like I need an address, then that is not a full-fledged information. Address of whom? So and so customer. So first we need to know the customer details, then only we will be able to fetch the data. So there would be a dependent object called address, which is dependent on its parent, like customer details. So that's about the dependent object. And search, yeah, as we seen in a day 2 class, yeah, we would be able to search with different keywords and yeah, we would be able to get the result. So for those type of services, for search page criteria, search object is used. Here search means a static search, where we need to provide a complete transaction number or complete name of a customer. How we are searching, we don't have any fuzzy search facility for that. The another search object is a dynamic search. Yes, here we would be having a lot of facilities like logical operations, greater than, less than, equal to, contains, doesn't contains. That for those type of searches, yeah, that will be processed by general objects. And finally, search result object. Yeah, we got the search, but what should be the search result? We have seen search criteria page. When we searched it, we got the resulted table. Likewise, the search result object contains the result of a general search or a dynamic search. I think the class has become little bit more informative. Is it bouncing to you all, or is it okay?
Yeah. It's okay. Things are clear.
Yeah. Are you with me, or things are getting bounced? Yeah, Vinay, right? You are okay with me. What about Rishi?
Yeah.
Rishi? Okay. Santosha? What about you?
Yeah, that's fine, but all the new terms together, I heard first time, so it's a bit confusing, but yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. Anyhow, we would be, this is like a more overview of the different layers. Later on, we would be specifically discussing about one layer. But if you have an overview, yes, it is always good for us. And yeah,
Okay.
you can go through it again, so that go through the sessions, because I have planned in such a way that every recording will be available for a week to specifically for you. So will not be accessed
Okay.
by others. everybody has a Gmail, so specifically I can share those to you per week. So for complete week, those respective recordings will be available. You can go through at every time, and if you have queries, just send a mail. Okay. I think I should stop at this point. What I feel is, or if you are okay, I can continue with the next slides.
You better stop. I mean, for me.
Yeah.
But I don't know about others.
What about you, Vinay?
Okay, we can stop now, and tomorrow we can resume.
Sure. Yeah, that's a good one. Tomorrow we will go through it fastly, what we have discussed, and we can discuss again about the different, like the next class would be more into the what is the root object, access object, and query object, these. And as I told you, general object model contains objects and relationships. So what type of relations that it has, and what a component set is, and then at runtime how CRM web client component behaves. And I request you all kindly go through these, and if possible go through the sites and go through the SE and get a lot of information, because you need to understand a CRM web client architecture and its behavior maybe in 1 or 2 days. If you have any queries, kindly let me know, because if you know this, yes, we would be enjoying the next practical sessions. If you don't know this, then it will become again a mess up, and I don't like people coding without for what purpose they are doing. So any type of query, any questions, kindly mail me, or we can discuss to the this GoToMeeting. And if I feel that yes, the question raised by you should be discussed in a session, yes, surely. If the question might be fired by anybody, but if I feel like it should be discussed on a GoToMeeting, yes, we would be discussing. Yeah, as of now, any questions? I think you will not ask any questions, because this is new for you. But I would be sending the PPT right now, and kindly go through it and let me know if you have any type of.
And also, can you please send yesterday's PPT also? I haven't received yesterday's PPT.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I haven't sent to anybody. Yeah, I will do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thank you everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you.